Talk politics with Ewing. Subscribe.
Presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku im don come outside come react to a report by IMF and no read out wetin im talk like just the heading. Dis article was released by him, you dey see am for your screen. He say my at ten tion has been drawn to a deeply troubling report by the International Monetary Fund. Now dis report was published July 1st 2026 by Reuters. Not no end there, Omoyele Sowore don come outside come talk am again say the IMF has revealed that the official Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his gang of went on further and even quantify am 2% of Nigerians budget entire GDP, which is about 8.8 trillion naira. Now for dis session I go explain to you wetin IMF really talk and I go also talk further wetin Alhaji Abubakar talk for im article. Im article many well well. So make we start first from wetin IMF really talk, just lis ten at ten tively. IMF drop the article for, dey call am IMF Nigeria 2026 article 4 consultation. Na two papers. The second one dey call am IMF executive board summary. Now wetin dem talk according to Reuters quote IMF president representative wey dem dey call Christian Ebike, and im talk say 2% of Nigerians GDP like the public spending no appear for the recent official budget, which when you estimate am e go add up to 8.8 trillion naira. Dem talk dat one. Wetin IMF talk say dem discover, dem say dem discover say government spend some money but dem no record am well inside the official budget papers, making the budget come dey look like say government dey borrow pass wetin dem say dem actually need. Next, wetin be GDP? If dis one na your first time, GDP mean say all the product, services and all the value wey dem dey produce inside the country per time. So every business activity wey happen for inside Nigeria per year, when you quantify am, na im dem dey call GDP. The 2% of dat GDP for Nigeria na about 8.8 trillion. So based on dat, the size of Nigeria economy go amount to 8.8 trillion. Na im dey say e no really appear so. Although IMF no talk say the money loss, I repeat, IMF no talk say the money loss, dem no talk so. Wetin dem talk, dey say dem no properly record the 8.8 trillion for the budget and for the budget and also implementation report. Na wetin dem talk be dat. IMF also go further to say wetin really cause dis, say what cause dis. According to IMF IMF say some capital projects might have been done and dem no record dem, dey happen outside the budget. Dat was not even suppose to even happen. Well, dem went further to say which makes the official budget figure not to show the complete spending, and also dis makes deficit figure not to match the actual borrowing. So wetin IMF dey talk in general, dey say certain money wey government take do certain things, whether na project dem use am do or procurement e no really appear. Moving further, IMF say government don start, na wetin IMF pipu talk be dis for their article. Dem say government don start to dey do something dey call repeal and reenactment, which mean say dem don start to dey put back and amend the budget so that those ones wey no appear or the ones the 8.8 trillion that was omitted go reappear. Na wetin IMF talk be dat. IMF still go further. Dem still talk say the reason wey make dem dey worry be say if you dey run a budget of a country and everything no dey appear, dis thing go fit lead to investors distrust in the government. Investors no go trust the government, and again CBN and also Ministry of Economy, dem go find am difficult to plan the economy well. Na wetin IMF talk be dat. So wetin Alhaji Atiku talk, lis ten. Atiku talk say government run project outside approved budget. One, he also talk say na wetin he allege be dis and dis is entirely different from the report. If you lis ten to wetin I don explain for you, say IMF talk. He talk say the National Assembly no approve and oversee the expenditure. Atiku also talk say Nigerians deserve to know where dis money go. He no stop for there. He go on to call on, and him come call am say dis thing wey happen so na the most consequential act of fiscal impunity in Nigerians recent democratic history. He no stop there. He say the National Assembly should investigate. He also say the Auditor General should audit all of the alleged off-budget spending. He no stop there. He also say make EFCC, ICPC also investigate the matter. He no still stop there. He say make federal government publish all the project, contractors, procurement and record of and also officials involved in the alleged off-budget spending. Na wetin Atiku Abubakar talk be dat, because he come go further say All these things na dey make Nigerians dey struggle. We also say Nigerians dey struggle with fuel subsidy removal, high cost of living, high interest rate. And so Nigerian interest rate about 26.5% currently, fluctuating exchange rates, etc. E say government should not spend public money outside budget. Na wetin Atiku talk be that. If you lis ten to wetin I just explain to you well, why IMF dey point out say there's a debt, dis thing no appear here about 8.8 trillion, about 2% of the GDP no appear for inside the budget. So no forget say GDP na all the buying and selling, all the business wey dey happen for a country per year. Na wetin IMF talk be that. And IMF also talk say government don dey work to amend am so that the thing go appear. Alhaji Atiku im don come outside, im own dey talk say make dem investigate, and also im dey talk say project happen outside the budget, so im dey allege. So if you categorically check dis thing, to be on the part of fact, Atiku stance is literally as if e dey politically, yes, the same thing with Omoyele Sowore, because IMF no say dem thief. For dis channel we go dey stand for the truth. How e be, just report the fact like that. E no matter whether e favour the people wey dey support politically or not. Omoyele Sowore say na gangs of thieves. So the IMF reveal that Bat and his gang of thieves cannot properly account for, if you notice wey e put am, e put it so well. They say they no fit account for 2% of Nigeria's entire GDP, which is around 8.8 trillion. Say na off budget spending from proper scrutiny and accountability. This is not a government, it's organized looting operation. So make we see here now, you know say dem just call dem names, then the way e take structure am, I just reported wetin e talk. Now this guy wey dey call Emitan Bello, wetin e really talk, im say Atiku's IMF post is a master class in political propaganda. The 2027 approaching, I went through it line by line so that you don't have to. Part one, wetin IMF actually talk. So wetin Bello actually come to correct, e dey in line with wetin IMF really talk. IMF no say the money loss, IMF no say government steal. Wetin IMF talk say dem no properly account for it, just like Sowore talk. So when Atiku Abubakar say his mind is drawn to wetin IMF talk and the rest wetin dem publish, but here is it, Sahara reporters come pick wetin Atiku talk. Say Atiku's condemn 8.8 shadow budget exposed by IMF report. Okay, Imam, this Imam you Wakili said former President lambast outside Nigeria's official budget, citing findings from IMF latest report. Okay, Atiku raises alarm over IMF receipt. So na wetin people dey talk be that. So if you lis ten to wetin I explain for you now, wetin IMF talk be say certain amount of money no appear for inside the budget. You dey understand? Government don dey work to place am back. Na wetin dem report be dis. Wetin Alhaji Atiku report be say im cite wetin Nigerians dey go through, and im come dey condemn say na as of dis time, nothing, government no suppose dey spend outside budget without giving accountability. And im dey call on government to reveal the officials, EFCC, ICPC to investigate dis matter. I wan hear your own thoughts now in the comment section. Wetin you feel? You feel say wetin IMF talk dey correct, or na wetin Atiku talk dey correct? You go pick your truth or your lies. My own na to just drop the fact. If you are new here, do well to subscribe, and also let me know your thoughts in the comment. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.